All right, my friends, welcome, welcome. Glad to see a few of you jumping in. Do me a favor in the chat. I cannot see who you are, unlike on Zoom. So let me know who's here. Name, gym name, where you're from, or where your gym is. That would be cool. That would be cool in the chat. And buckle up for the next hour. We're going to be talking client retention. I know it's not as sexy as lead generation, but it is just as important. Jeremy, good to see you on here. Hopefully get some nuggets out of it. Let me wipe my camera, a little foggy. There we go. Clear that right up. All right. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking client retention. If you want the doc, I'll put the link in the chat. If you want my notes from today's training, you can go to wealthygymowners.com/never. wealthygymowners.com/never. And Tony, good to see you. And the link is in the chat. That is where you can grab my notes from today's training. And of course, wealthygymowners.com is where you can read more about what we do, helping gym owners both in our Project 500 group, which is helping you get to 500K, and then our boardroom group, which is helping you get from 500K to our biggest gym owner that we work with. We'll do 1.7 million this year. So pretty excited about that. As far as what we're going to cover today, we're going to be talking about client retention, and the title, I call it Never Lose a Client Again. And I call it that as a spinoff of where this kind of information originally stemmed from, to give credit where credit's due, is a book I read when it first came out by Joey Coleman called Never Lose a Customer Again. And obviously it's a phenomenal book. I would say it's one of the foundational books. I might even call it in the top, I don't know if I could say top 10, top 20, potentially top 10 if I on the fly here had to list it. But by and large, definitely a great book. Highly recommend it. And we actually had Joey speak at our boardroom group a year or so back, and really phenomenal guy. Really like his concept. And obviously, it's kind of a cliche title because the term never is impossible, right? Like, we're always going to lose clients. That's just the nature of customer service business. However, we want to put systems in place that reduce that, eliminate it, with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to make this so good that people never want to leave, right? And so he walks through the 8 phases of client retention, of building it out. And frankly, although I loved it, and I actually did a training right after that for gym owners going through the 8 phases, it can feel a little bit overwhelming and a little bit of a disconnect. Like, okay, how do these phases actually connect to I run a gym, and what does that look like? So what I've done is I've taken everything I learned from that, everything I've watched both with our gym and with our clients' gyms, and seeing, okay, what actually moves the needle with client retention? Because there has been proven frameworks for marketing, right? Marketing playbooks, lead generation strategies. That's frankly what the industry mostly talks about. And so there's a lot of proof of concept with that stuff. There's not a lot of proof of concept with client retention because it's not a perfect formula. It's messy. Why somebody leaves is sometimes your fault. Sometimes it's not. I would say why they tell you they leave makes it seem like it's not your fault, but deep down, there's probably something you did there where you miss value. So what we're trying to do is put systems in place that prevent that from happening. Okay. But again, just wanted to give credit where credit's due. Big shout out to the book, Never Lose a Customer Again. And I would definitely pick that up. If you have the notes, which I see some of you jumping on there into the notes, there's a link for it right at the top. Okay. Again, if you need my notes from today's training, wealthygymonowner.com /never. So the goal is 4%, right? 4% churn. Anything less than that is phenomenal. If you're over that, then I would say we got some holes to plug. Now, that's got an asterisk, right? So what does that mean? If I have 100 clients in the month of April and 3 left in April, I had 3% churn, right? Which is pretty good. Now, keep in mind that your churn increases once you serve. So if you're watching this training and you have 10 people, 10 clients that you work with, I would expect you to have 10 people next month, right? You're not going to lose somebody every single month at that that number, right? Because what is 3% of 10, right? It's not even a person. But all of a sudden you get up to 50 clients, 100 clients, 200 clients. Now we're talking 4% is 5, 10, 15 people every month. And so for us, most of us are training gym owners, 200, 300, $400 a month. That's a substantial amount of revenue that's leaving our business. And so we certainly want to get it under, I think anything under 4% for an established business. New business, smaller business should be higher, up closer to 2%. Established business, meaning you got, let's say over 100 clients, you've been in business for, let's call it at least 3 to 5 years, you should be under 4%. Now, that's average. That's the other thing we got to take into account. That's an average month. So you're going to have a month like April. April's kind of a weird month in this industry. You have, for my sports performance folks, you have spring sports going on. For my Gen Pop folks, the new year has certainly worn off, and January, February, March is usually a steady uptick. And then April's kind of this drop. And then depending upon where you are in the market, where you are in the country, summertime can be good. And then of course, fall is traditionally always good for most markets. So it's an average though. You might have 2% churn in January and then, 6% in April. But if you're looking at it, it still averages to be 3 to 4. Okay. So just keep that in mind. The other benefit of this training that I will say, other than retention, is if you do this stuff, not only are people going to stay longer, but they're going to refer more too. I think referral is like a sub effect, right? A secondary effect of having strong retention is you get more referrals. So let's talk about, ultimately, as we go through tactics, I want you to keep in mind that there are 6 different ways to communicate with people. 6 different ways. And many of us lean into only 1 or 2, and we're missing the other 4. So we have in person, which we are fortunate enough that happens every single time somebody walks through the door. So that's certainly a big component of today's tactics, is let's make sure we know that people are actually walking through our door. Utilization, the usage of your services, is by and large the highest driver of retention. If somebody's not using my service, you could be the best person in the world, but you're not going to keep paying $300 a month for something you're not using. Then you have phone call. I put that second because everybody's afraid to pick up the phone. And here's the thing. I know, I stress this with my clients all the time. I know they're not going to answer the phone. And you say, well, I'm not going to call people because they're not going to answer. Now, let me give you a concrete example. You are watching this training where you can see me, you can see my body language, you can see my hand expression, you can see my eyebrows raised, you can hear my tone go up and down. I could pretty easily take this Google Doc and paste it as a social media post, and you would get the same exact tactics listed out. However, it would sit a lot different, 100%, right? I would argue you might scroll with it, look at it, and move right on. Versus this, hopefully there's a few things that you implement and take action on, and I can emphasize certain things. That's the power of the phone call. And I'm going to say, more importantly, the voicemail. So you'll see we have touch points that we interject throughout a client journey that is specifically designed just to leave the voicemail. And this is especially true with people who are not yet clients and people who are off track. The phone call and the voicemail, super powerful. And my proof of this is that every single client that I work with, every single gym owner that I work with that comes to me and is not doing phone calls, And I say, you need to call your leads. You need to call your current clients when they're not in. And they implement that. There is an improvement in leads converting to appointments and clients coming back in the door. And that's the only variable they changed. So clearly the phone call moves the needle. So that's the second way we can contact people. We can contact people through text. We can contact people through email, which are probably the two most common ways we utilize. Video, right? This is a video. Why could you not, instead of just texting somebody, grab a quick selfie style 30-second video? We're going to talk about how we interject that format into retention strategies. And then physical gifts, mailing people gifts, whether it be a thank you note, whether it be a physical thing they have to unbox. That is another touch point. So those are the 6 different touch points. And what we want to do is map out your client journey all the way from the time before they even become a client, all the way to if and when they do leave. What are our touch points? How can we improve those touch points? And how can we make sure that those touch points are hitting all the points of contact? We are nailing in person if they're coming in person. But are we nailing video? Are we nailing the phone call? Are we nailing gifts, physical mail? And you may not even be nailing the text and the email, right? Those are usually the strong ones for folks. It's the others that I want to make sure we're interjecting. And when is the best time to do that? Okay. So let's start off with outside. And by the way, if you're listening to this, just jumping on, wealthygymowners.com/never. The message is pinned in the chat. Just click that link and you can grab my notes from today's training. So let's start with outside your 4 walls. Before they even become a client, before they even inquire to become a client, a lot of retention is just about attracting the right people. If I attract somebody that is not a good fit, my follow-up could be strong, so they end up booking an appointment. My sales is really good, so I'm able to sell them. But then ultimately, they weren't an ideal client in the first place, and so they end up leaving. We could have the best systems in the world, but if they're not a good fit for the program, it doesn't matter, right? Now, this is always tough because if you're a mature business, you can your lane, your funnel, to use the marketing term, can be a little bit narrower because you're established. You can be a little bit pickier of who you take. Versus if you're new and you're in growth phase, you might have to kind of let these people weed themselves out. You bring them in. You don't want to filter too early because now you're going to narrow the top of your funnel and you're not going to generate a lot of new business. But there's things we can do proactively to make sure that we attract new people that are good fits. So first thing is answering the question, what can we do to get them excited about coming in and ensure that they feel they're the right fit? And the best way to do that is through your social media and through your website. You use pictures, videos, and social proof of people that look like them. So think of what your ideal client looks like and how they talk, what they talk about, and make sure that that is your content. That should be your content on your social. Not pictures of the facility, not nutrition tips, not things about, your background. It should be pictures, and ideally, when we go about points of contact, video about your ideal client and who they are, what they look like. So an example of that, if you go to sperlingfitness.com and you click on the stories tab, you will see that you can scroll and there are, I don't know, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 video testimonials of ideal clients, plus Google reviews pulled in, plus some still images. So I've taken video, I've taken still images, and I've taken Google review screenshots as social proof. This will outperform any sales page, any good copy, because it's the people right there. So step number one with fixing your retention is attracting the right people. And we do that by making sure videos and pictures are of the ideal client. So evaluate your social proof, evaluate your content on your social and on your website, and make sure it's of people that look like the people you want to attract. Now, next thing I want you to audit is how can you preview what it's like to be a client? How can you preview what it's like to be a client? Because if I know what it's like to be a client, now I can decide if it's a right fit for me. And if I think it's a right fit for me, I'm more likely to stay. So there's a couple things that we can do. Number one is if you, again, I'll use our website as an example. If you go to the homepage of our website, you'll see that we very clearly call out in the beginning, personal training for people over 50. So if you are not over 50, you are going to move on. And then if you take the next scroll, you're going to see that we keep it very basic. 1, 2, 3. 1, book a meeting. 2, we customize your plan. 3, you try us out risk-free. Everybody can take some version of that for their website. You want it to be a simple 1, 2, 3 and speak in their language. The easier I can make it seem that it's literally 1, 2, 3. Now we know as trainers, as fitness professionals, it's not that easy, but I want to make it seem that easy. 1, 2, 3. Also, another plug for the video social proof, right? Another plug for the video social proof, Google review social proof. And then the final thing before I actually meet with somebody that I want you to improve is your follow-up process. And I fit this in again because let's say that you nailed the stuff we talked about. So now you're starting to attract more people that are good fits, meaning they're raising their hand, right? They're filling out your website form. They're clicking on your Facebook ad. They're responding to your email. So now we've started to attract more people that are good fits. Well, now we still have to get them from inquiry to actually, most of us do some version of a success session, strategy session, game planning session, right? That 30 to 45 minute sit down where I get to know you and sell you into our program. The gap between when I raise my hand and when I get to that appointment is your follow-up. And again, you want it to be strong to convert them, but you also want to show them what a good client is and weed them out. So there's certain things that we can do to make sure that we're attracting the right people. Number one is we're going to build confidence that this is going to be easy and we're going to be with you the whole step of the way. I want to weed the people out. Here's something that I think we don't often call out enough. If you love going to the gym, if you are super confident in the gym, we are not for you. If you want to do things on your own and you know how to work out, we are not for you. That's both marketing and in follow-up. So I'm continuing to reinforce who I'm for. And then I'm going to make sure that I mix in points of contact. We're not worried about gift yet. But I am going to go back to those 6 points of contact. I don't yet have the ability to meet you in person. Hopefully I will with that sales appointment. I'm not worried about a gift yet because you're a lead and I can't do a gift to everybody. But I can nail the other 4. Does your follow-up sequence include text, email, phone call, and video? And a video can be delivered via text or email, right? So you could easily film a YouTube unlisted video that says, hey, this is Doug from Sperling Fitness. Thanks so much for inquiring about our program. Go ahead and reply to this email with 2 times that work for you to meet this week. Well, what I've done there is A, I've stood out against all the other text or emails that you get. And 2, I've put a face, I've put tone, I've put emotion, I've put excitement behind just a, hey, here's my calendar link, book. So now I'm more connected with the brand. I'm more likely to, if that jives with me, be a good fit and stick long term. So how can you improve your follow-up sequence to include text, email, phone call, leave a powerful voicemail, and video? Some of those texts, some of those emails can be video. So now we've gotten a percentage of those people to come in for our sales process, right? They've come in. And by the way, if you're listening to this, you have questions, just drop it in the chat. We'll certainly, I'm not screen sharing this time. So I will be able to see the chat as we go and can go deeper into something if you comment on it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rolling through. Again, if you need the notes, wealthygymowners.com/never. So sales process. This is to make sure that you sell the right people. If you're not a good fit, I don't want you here, and vice versa. So first step is making sure they show. So they've booked. Let's say I've booked for Monday. Today's Friday. You follow up with me. I say, yep, I'll be there Monday at 5 o'clock. What am I getting between now and Monday at 5 o'clock? You should have a separate, it can be short, like 3 messages. Maybe there's a video of you saying, hey, thanks for booking the appointment. Here's a brief overview of what we're going to do during this appointment. It's going to take about 45 minutes. We're going to be sitting, chatting. I just want to learn about you, your goals, your injuries, your background. And then I'm going to take you onto the floor. Don't worry, we're not going to sweat. We're not going to do anything hard. I just want to see how you move, make sure nothing hurts. If it does, I want to know about it. And then we'll create a plan for you to move on from there. That video could be pre-filmed where you don't talk about a generic or specific time. Or if you're smaller, I would personalize that video and send it out to every success session that you book. So now I've hit video. I got email confirmations going out, and then I've got phone call confirmations going out. So I love, love, love a welcome video of what to expect with that appointment. What to expect with that appointment. Frequently asked questions is another piece of content. So if you're looking to like automate this, somebody books and then they show up, you can automate like, what are the top 5 frequently asked questions that people ask? You could send that ahead of time. What you're trying to do here, most of the time, if there's a drop off here, it's logistical reminders, which we'll talk about next, or more importantly, it's overwhelming anxiety. I'm anxious. I don't know what to expect. Is this the right move? Should I do this? I'm taking 45 minutes out of my day, which if you're an adult with kids and busy and work and all that stuff, that's a lot of time. So I need to build value through social proof that other people have done it. I need to answer frequently asked questions ahead of time. I need to ensure that you are making the right move. And then finally, logistical reminders, like 24 hours before and even 2 hours before, which most of your CRMs can set this up so that it just texts you right away. All right. Now they're in the door. They walk in the door. I would like to see a chalkboard at your front desk, wherever they walk through the door, that says, welcome, Doug. You're only doing these. I mean, even my busiest gyms are doing 1 or 2 of these a day. Most of you, if you're under 100 clients, are doing 3 to 5 a week, right? New client appointments. So have a chalkboard, buy it on Amazon, like a little easel chalkboard, and just right there, welcome, John. How cool is that? You walk in and you see your name. No other business is doing this. I mean, no other business is doing it. So great first impression. Great first impression. Then I meet with you. When I leave, I would consider that you schedule their first week for them. Most of you have an app-based schedule that you use for your clients. We have to be empathetic that some of that can be overwhelming for people. So I want to go ahead and schedule their first week for them. That way they have that first week to get the app downloaded, to understand it, etc. And they have probably 1 to 3 sessions with you if questions come up. And then I also want them to leave with something physical. So this is their first gift, right? When we go back to the 6 points of contact, I need them to leave with something. Now, depending upon your budget, you can go as small or as big as you want with this. I think at minimum, I want them to leave with a welcome packet. In a welcome packet, you can design them in Canva, 8 to 10 pages long, have them printed like coil bound, like a small pamphlet notebook style. And its welcome packets are going to have things like, here's how you schedule. Here's our scheduling process. One page about that. Maybe with a QR code to download the app. Maybe one page about what happens if you get injured. Now, hopefully not with us, but let's say you're out skiing and you tweak your knee 6 months from now, next winter. If you read about it now and you implant that in your head now that, hey, we can help you with scheduling around or programming around injuries, they're less likely to leave when they do get injured. I would probably have a page for every new client that talks about travel and how we can program for you when you're away and what that looks like. And maybe at the bottom, there's a testimonial from somebody who travels a lot with you that's a client. And you grab a testimonial from them that talks about how, hey, I travel to Europe every summer and Doug programs for me while I'm there, checks in once a month. I love it. And then I'm back with him for the other 9 months. What I want in the welcome packet is what are the 1 to 3 things that they need to know? Maybe they need to know how to schedule. Maybe they need to know how you communicate to them about, is it a Facebook group? Is it, some type of, some people use Slack, whatever it is, right? How do I communicate with you? And then what are the objections that are going to come up? If you've been in business for any length of time, why people ask to leave. And so if you can address any of those in the welcome packet and in the sales process verbally, but the welcome packet is that physical gift that now if I meet with you at, let's say, 4:00 on Monday, and I go home and I'm talking to my spouse about it, I'm flipping through, right? It's like, imagine if I didn't give you the Google Doc with this training. You'd get some nuggets, you'd take your own notes, but it's nice to have that as a reference. Right? It's nice to have that as a reference. Your welcome packet's the same thing. The same thing. What we're trying to prevent at this stage is buyer's remorse, right? We're trying to get them to show, and then we're trying to prevent them through overwhelm, through did I make the right choice? Because now is when we start to have paid. Everything else has been drop-offs, right? Everything else we've covered so far, there's drop-offs. There's a percentage of people that don't make it to the next stage. But now we've collected their money. They've signed up. And nothing's worse. If you've been in business for any length of time, you've all gotten that email the next day that says, hey, I talked to my spouse and actually I can't do this. Or, hey, I thought it over and I don't think it's the right time. And usually at that point, it's because we made it overwhelming. We gave them so much that they were overwhelmed and they didn't think it was the right fit, or they thought it was too daunting. So as small as it sounds, a welcome packet can be a game changer for that buyer's remorse stage and the retention to keep them going. Now you can throw in some swag. You can throw in, I've seen people throw into a bag with supplement samples and all other stuff. But if you're just starting out, I would just do welcome packet if you don't have that. All right, now we're going into onboarding. So now the client has purchased, they've left the building, and we now need to onboard them. Now, of course, from an operational perspective, you have things you need to do, like maybe you need to do their programming, maybe you need to get them set up in an app, maybe you need to add them to your software, whatever. But from a retention standpoint, this is also when we need to start making sure that we are onboarding them properly so that they don't leave in the first couple days, in the first week. If they plant that seed in their head that's like, I don't know if this is the right fit. Now, let me pause for a second. And by the way, if you have questions, just drop them in the chat. I am approaching 30 minutes into this training, and we are just getting to onboarding. And we still got the second half. Like we're going to talk through when they are a client and what that looks like and when the check-ins are. But I say that because attracting the right people and starting them off strong is by and large the biggest needle mover for retention. If you get the right people in the door and you start them with a strong foundation, yes, you're going to have those percentage of people that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now leave because they're bored or leave for financial reasons or leave. And we're going to try to slow that down with some other stuff in a minute. But the foundation of attracting the right people and getting them set up properly it's like the foundation of a house. We can put cool windows in and nice decor and nice flooring and nice kitchen cabinets, but if our foundation's crumbling, it doesn't matter. So setting them up for I'm attracting you because you're the right person. You know what to expect. I've sold you into the program. You know what to expect there. I've given you the welcome packet. Now I'm going to onboard you. That is the key to attracting the right people and keeping them. So with onboarding, there's 3 things I want you to look at. Really 2, because the second one blends in with the third. But the first one is non-negotiable. I think everybody should be doing this, is a handwritten thank you note. You can buy them on Amazon, super cheap in bulk. If you want to go fancy, you can get them printed with your logo on it. I like blank thank you notes, not pre-printed with messaging. Blank thank you notes, and take the 2 minutes to handwrite them a thank you note and put it in the mail and mail it to them. I don't know about you, but every time I check my mail every day, like 99.9% of it is either junk or bills. Maybe during the holidays, you get a Christmas card, and that's about it. But imagine if I check it and there's a handwritten thank you note from my gym saying, hey, you just made an awesome choice. Super excited to work with you. Thanks so much for trusting us. It's a game changer. Like nobody's doing that. And you will, the amount of referrals, that you'll get from that. We have people posted on social. Obviously, they're going to tell their family and friends about it. And it's $1 handwritten thank you note. So double down on that, build that into your process. And then in regards to your onboarding campaign, so most of you may have, if you don't, I would highly encourage you to have kind of a drip campaign that you send people. You can build it out once and have your software like a automatic members or any of your content softwares that can drip it so that you just tag them with onboarding and then they get sent automatically. I want usually somewhere around 30 days, right? Not 30 pieces, but like spread out over 30 days, maybe 7 to 10 pieces over 30 days. I want content dripped over to them. Now, one of the first ones I want to send out is a welcome video. Remember, go back to my 6 pieces. I'm trying to fit in all the pieces of contact. I've sent them the gift, the handwritten thank you note. I've given them the welcome packet. Now, I'm going to hit them with another video. And this is going to be a welcome video. And you can take it 2 ways. You can take the welcome, and maybe you could combine these into you could take both ideas and combine them. One idea is to do a video thank you card. So you still do the handwritten thank you card, but it's the first video. Hey, thanks so much for joining. Super excited to work with you, yada, yada, yada. Or you could go and you could bleed these 2 together. Here's what to expect on your first workout. Here's what to expect on the first workout. As a reminder, here's where you're going to put your shoes, leave your keys. Here's where we're going to warm up. And this is, you're not going into detail like, hey, we're going to do a goblet squat, but I'm just talking like, this is what the first day from a high level looks like. Again, I'm reducing anxiety. I'm reducing overwhelm. First day expectations, huge, 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 huge. And then as far as your content itself, don't focus on education. Don't focus on education. What I mean by that is I would not focus on, with your onboarding content, I would not focus on your nutrition tips and your at-home workouts and all that stuff. I would focus on what are the things that your best clients know about? What are the things your best clients utilize? So for example, all of our clients need to know how to schedule. So I'm going to make sure that one piece talks about our scheduling policy and how to schedule. All of our clients need to know about our Facebook group. That's where we always did our communication. That's where we posted about things happening. That's where we shouted out clients. So one piece of content is going to be making sure you're getting into the Facebook group. Maybe there's a piece, again, think what you also put in your welcome packet could be dual purposed for your onboarding content. Maybe there's an email that goes out about what happens if you're injured, what happens if you travel. The goal of my content is to increase utilization. So how do my best clients use us, and prevent overwhelm, not educate. All right, so now that's set. They're coming for their first day. They're there for their first day. Some things that I can install for first impression of the first day. Number one is a strong start appointment. Strong start appointment. This appointment can be 5 minutes, but it's an actual appointment. Most of you use some type of software to do your scheduling. So let's say you have a 7 a.m. session. There would be a 6:55 appointment right before that with this new client on their first day. And it would be called a strong start appointment. Why does that matter? Well, it matters for two reasons. Number one, we would all love if that client showed up 5 minutes early anyways, right? To help get them started. And so by treating it like an actual appointment rather than just a, hey, show up a few minutes early, kind of casual, they treat it like an actual appointment and they show up early. Two, if you have a team, you're always focused on making sure that coach knows about, hey, you got a new client at 7 o'clock. Remember, you got a new client at 7 o'clock. Well, they're probably in the habit of already checking their schedule. And so if they don't see anything else, they may forget that, oh yeah, 7 a.m., I got that new client. But if they see a little 5-minute appointment before that session, that's going to be a visual reminder for them, oh yeah, new client, strong start. Now, what you do during that strong start, I'll share what we did. All we did was an in-body. In-body real quick, because we didn't do that on their first day. We didn't like to do that during the sales consult. We felt like it was intimidating. But we just did an in-body real quick, less than 5 minutes, and then walked them out onto the floor and started their warm-up. Made sure they were good with the app, things like that, right? Just basic things. How they're feeling, what we're going to do today, just ease into it, right? But it's not this formal like session like they already had. It's just a operational way to make sure that they're getting a strong start, right? They're starting off strong. So we love installing that. Other things during their first day, assisted warm-up. Now that sounds obvious, but I cannot leave them alone in the beginning. I cannot leave them alone. I'm going to help them with their warm-up. And then two things at the end. Number one is you'll notice in the welcome packet, kind of when they joined, I did not give them a t-shirt. I did not mention giving them a t-shirt. I'm a big fan of doing a post-workout shirt, first workout shirt. Because when you join, everything is overwhelming. I'm trying to help it not be, but it's still overwhelming. You got the welcome packet. You're trying to get the app on the, and t-shirts is like, okay, t-shirt. But what if this t-shirt, it used to be the $5 t-shirt. Now with inflation, it's the $12 t-shirt. But what if you had this $12 t-shirt, just a basic t-shirt with your logo, you know, like this, logo on the top right, whatever the kind of standard, buy them in bulk, buy 50 of them at a time, buy 100 of them at a time. And you have them rolled up. And Susie is finishing up her workout, and you go over, you grab a shirt, and you say, hey, Susie, awesome job today. Loved working with you. Great first workout. We give this shirt to everybody that completes their first workout. You can't buy it, but you get it if you complete your first workout, and here's yours. Super cool moment, right? Super cool moment. And love that kind of one-on-one right there at the end, that high five at the end, that physical handoff at the end, just for that, and not have it be buried in the welcome bag. Gold right there, gold. All right, next thing on the first workout, or last thing on the first workout is they've gone home, they're all jazzed up, they're feeling good. All of a sudden they start getting a little sore. They wake up the next morning, they're a little sore, right? Maybe they had a question like, was I doing that right? When should I show up next? I forgot to put the app on my phone, whatever. Something, they're having some thought in their head. Now they're having all kinds of other thoughts too, because unlike us, they don't think about the gym other than when they're there and maybe for a handful of times outside of it. But what if they could get a phone call from you the next day? So I worked out with you yesterday And now during your downtime, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, you're sending a call out to anybody that had their first day yesterday. Build that into your process. And yes, you're probably going to leave a voicemail, but the voicemail is going to say, hey, this is Doug over at Sperling Fitness. You had your first workout yesterday. Just checking in, making sure you're feeling good. Hopefully you're feeling good. I see you're scheduled for Tuesday. I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Let me know if you have any questions on that app to keep your schedule rolling. I'm here for you. I'll also shoot you a text if you want to reply to that. Go ahead. And then you shoot them a standard kind of canned templated text, check in, and you're good. Some people respond and have a question. Some people come in on that next session like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for checking in. Huge. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. That's all we're looking for is all these threads, these touch points, right? So now I've got my phone call, I got my text, they got their videos going out, I got my gifts, all that. Nailed. All right. Now let's go first. Next journey, next segment of the journey, maybe is a better way to put it, is the client's 6 to 8 week mark. Okay, so we've had a strong start. They got their first workout in. We're good. Now I want to make sure I nail the 6 to 8 weeks, the first 6 to 8 weeks. This is when it's like, okay, I might grind through a couple workouts and see if it's a good fit. I'll stick it out for a week or two. Or, by 6 weeks, I should really be feeling better. Like whether you or I agree, this is what people are thinking. Like I should have results within 4 to 6 weeks. Now, whether that's realistic, whether that's attainable, it doesn't matter. That's what they're thinking. So we have to kind of meet them where they're at and say, okay, how can we nail this first 6 to 8 weeks? So there's 3 things that I would consider implementing to improve ongoing, but also more specifically in this example, the first 6 to 8 weeks. Number 1 is something called a weekly P-Pro. A weekly P-Pro. And you're like, what the heck is a P-Pro? Well, if you're one of my clients, you know what a P-Pro is. But if you're not, a P-Pro stands for personal and positive reach out. It's a title, it's a name for a nice text. A nice text. A personal text. It's not canned. It's not copy pasted. It's not going out the same text to everybody. It's personal and it's positive in nature. And you text them middle of the day, this time of day. I'm recording this 1:45 on a Friday. Imagine I'm week 2 of a client, right? I'm in my second week. Today's Friday. I'm kind of looking forward to the weekend. I'm dogging it at work. Somebody yelled at me this morning. I'm not feeling too good. Like I'm burnt out from the week, whatever. And all of a sudden I look at my phone and there's a text. And there's a text from my trainer that says, hey, Doug, I was just looking at your program and I'm just so proud of you for coming in. You've been in 5 times in the last 2 weeks. I see you've already improved in your goblet squat. You're signed up next week for 3 times. You're just crushing it. I'm so proud of you. Looking forward to working with you next week. 3 to 4 sentences, maybe, if that. Not writing them a book, but that literally could change that person's weekend, right? They just went from kind of down in the dumps to, oh, wow, pep right up. We love weekly P-Pros. Now, weekly is hard to maintain ongoing. If you're small, you got 20, 30, 40, 50 people, you could probably maintain weekly. And so I always get the question, how do I track this? So don't overcomplicate it. Client spreadsheet of all your active clients, their names in column A, and the date you sent them a text in column B. That's it. And if the date is longer than a week old, which there's ways in Google Sheets under conditional formatting for it to turn a certain color. Just Google it, how to turn cells certain colors, conditional formatting on dates. You could have it turn yellow if it's been more than 5 days. So that way, as soon as it turns yellow, they're due another text. You don't need softwares or fancy systems to track this stuff. You just need to execute on it. So love a weekly P-Pro. We do that for everybody for their first 8 weeks. You'll see after it spaces out to monthly, but for their first 8 weeks, I want win after win after win, proud, 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 really drive. Think about like when you're training a new dog, right? It's like reps, 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 praise, praise, treats, 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 right? We want those reps in the beginning. At the 6 week mark, you can choose 6 or 8 weeks. I like at the 6 week mark, could do 8 weeks, but somewhere kind of after that first month, they're in a groove, they're coming in, they're hitting it. I want another handwritten thank you note. Another handwritten thank you note. And that's because now I've had multiple purchases with you. I'm starting to kind of maybe, am I getting results here? Like I like it, but am I making progress? Handwritten thank you note and call out something that they've made progress in. It could be broad. It could be small to you, but it's big to them. Doesn't matter. That handwritten thank you note goes out in the mail and I want it to call out something positive. And then the third thing they need to nail in the 6 to 8 weeks is I would like to see something about their attendance. So I'm all for celebrating PRs and milestones around performance, but attendance is the largest indicator of retention long-term. Nobody cancels after walking in the gym 3 times this week. Just doesn't happen. There's always a drop in attendance first. So we have processes that we're going to talk about next to catch that, to make sure we know if people are not showing up. But I also want to incentivize you showing up. And so one of the easiest ways to do this is with some type of attendance board, attendance club. People call it consistency club, frequent sweaters club, any of those names. But basically, it's a board in your facility where every month, at the end of the month, you write people's names down on the board that showed up at least 10 times. I like 10. Some people do 8. Some people do 12. I like 10. It's a nice round number. It's realistic, attainable, but you got to show up at least 2 or 3 times a week or else you're not getting on it. I don't need you here 5 days a week, but I need you here 2 or 3 days a week. And I want to incentivize that. I want to shout those people out. And their names stay on the board. You post it on social. You tag them. You can text it to clients, whatever. But make it a rhythm. Make it a celebratory moment to get on that board every month. And you build that habit from month 1. You got to make sure right from month 1, they know about it. That could be a piece of content in your welcome packet is, hey, here's our frequent sweaters board. Here's what it is. Here's why we want you on it every month. It just needs to be part of your language is to get on that board every month. Because I guarantee you, if people are on that board, they are not leaving. It's the people that aren't on that board, they're going to leave. So figure out a way to get people on that board and build it a habit from day 1. Every month they get on that board. All right. Now, next phase is ongoing. Now, ongoing is I've now been here 8 weeks, regardless of what you read on habit changing. By now, it's a habit, right? I've been here a couple months. I'm working out routinely. I'm getting on the frequent sweaters board. I'm in a habit, right? So at this stage, it's all about tweaks. It's nothing big. It's just about tweaks. But without these tweaks, it would be like fine-tuning a car, like a race car, right? Like you'll still be able to drive without the fine-tuning. But will you win? Will you be in the top? Probably not. So the fine tunes are important. Okay. The fine tunes are important. So let's talk about some ideas for ongoing. Number 1, in my opinion, non-negotiable for every gym. I want a weekly at-risk report. Weekly at risk. What does that mean? That means every week I pull a list of people that were not in the gym last week. So every Monday, I pull a report of everybody that did not show last week. Ideally, it shouldn't be a lot of people. In my experience, for most gyms, it's somewhere between 5 and 10%. So if you're 100 people, there's probably 10 people that didn't show up last week. And Monday, Tuesday, at the latest, I'm reaching out. They should hear from me in a phone call, in a video, not just a text. If you're going to just text, the text needs to be video. I need to show tone. I need to show empathy. I need to show compassion. I cannot show that. I don't care how many emojis you put behind it. I cannot show that in a text message. It needs to be upbeat. Don't make them feel bad, but they need to know that you noticed. That is the number 1 key. They need to know that you noticed. So every week, that should be part of your operational checklist. Every week you pull that report. And by Tuesday, everybody gets a reach out. We're talking a handful of people for most gyms. It's not a lot of people, but those are the people that if you don't, they will end up canceling. You'll see at the end here, I have a section of what to do when somebody asks to cancel. But in my opinion, that's too late. We're trying to save you at that point, right? Like that's a very reactive way. I want to be proactive here. I talked about the P pros during those first 8 weeks. I want to keep those going every month. So now once you've been here, you're in a habit. I still want to get that touch point every month. Personal positive text once a month. You'd be surprised. You got 20 clients right now. You're like, that's easy, piece of cake. Well, try that with 200 people. Try that with 100 people. There are people that slip through the cracks. Next strategy you can implement. Weekly wins. This was going out on Fridays. It was a nice end to the week right about now. Again, it's 2 o'clock here, East Coast on a Friday when I'm recording this. Right about now, a message would go out via email and posted in our client-only Facebook group of all the wins that occurred this past week, right? Monday through today. And so coaches would be texting. If you're the one sending it, they would text it to you. They would email it to you. And you observe. And a win, the barrier is low. Like, somebody went up 5 pounds. Somebody progressed from this exercise to this exercise. Somebody got a job promotion that you heard about. Like any client win, doesn't matter, in the gym, out of the gym. You want the list to be long. Because what you want to do is you want to send it at the same time, same day, every week. So people get in the habit of reading it on the same day, same time every week. And people will look for A, did I make the list? Am I on that weekly wins list? And B, whose names do I recognize? Oh, that's my friend Susie. She also goes at my 7 a.m. group. Weekly wins, game changer. Recognition. Goal celebrations. You can do goal celebrations. The easiest way to do goal celebration, and when I say easy, I mean I have to keep in mind that these are all ideas that you need to implement. And so we got to make it easy for you to implement. Easy one to implement is prompt people in your gym. You can have a chalkboard. A lot of people do it chalkboard with like a cowbell. And instead of doing it for PRs, you do it for hitting a goal. So it could be if the goal was a PR, but let's say the goal was 3 times. You came in 3 times this week. So in your sessions, you're constantly probably anybody hit a goal this week, anybody hit a goal this week, and they write their name and their goal on the board and they get to ring the bell. Super cool moment and easy to implement. All right, let's talk about strategy sessions or goal setting check-ins. So these are what people traditionally think about when they think about retention. What I mean by that, and just to kind of paint the picture of what these are your, okay, I've been a client. I want to chat nutrition. I'm not getting results. I want to do a check-in, right? So here's my experience with these things. One, they're very hard to track. They're very hard to execute on schedule-wise as you scale. 2, only about 1/3 of your clients, in my experience, at any given time, want one, value one, need one. And they need to be about 15 to 20 minutes long. Those are kind of the 3 keys. Now, the magic is that 1/3 of people that want one is always changing. So I'm not like I like strategy sessions or I don't like strategy sessions. I want one right now, but I don't want one for the summer. I want one to lock in the fall, or I do want to lock in the summer. I don't know. I can't read your mind. So here's what we do for strategy sessions. Goal setting check-ins, whatever. Once a month, you send out an invitation to book. Once a month, you send out an invitation to book. Hey, if you're looking to dial it in, you're feeling off track, you want to reset, reply with the word strategy, and we'll set up a time to meet. That way, you are extending the invite, and maybe you can resend it to non-opens. Maybe you send it twice to make sure people saw about it, whatever. But that way, for people that do want one that month, you can get it scheduled. For people that don't want one, like we got feedback from a lot of people that I'm just doing this because you told me to do it. Because we used to do them monthly for a long time. Every month you had to do a strategy session. And like some people are like, okay, I'll do this because you're telling me to do it. But like, I'm good. I don't need it. So strategy sessions, they're good. I want them because they do catch people. But I want the invite out. I want the invite out. All right, next up, lifetime visits. So we just had one of our guys call and implement this in Project 500. Love it. Lifetime visits are big picture. What are the milestones in visits that you want people to hit? Most people choose like 50, 100, 250, 500, 1,000, right? Think about it as clubs. And the people that do it well do visual displays in the gym of this. So you could do chalkboards, you could do magnet boards, some type of visual display, and your name moves once you get to the next milestone. Now, this is down at the bottom of the list for a reason. It's on the list, so it's important, and veteran clients really like this. But in my opinion, you have to nail the other smaller, more frequent touch point stuff first. Like you have to have some type of frequent sweaters board. You have to have some type of weekly at risk. That is way more important than lifetime visits. Lifetime visits are good for long-term motivation. I'm at 250 visits. I get into that 250 club. My next ladder is 500 visits. For a long-term client, that's cool because, okay, I can do the math. It's like 2 years from now. But hey, I see my friend John up there. And they start to get competitive, right? That's the version of adult competitiveness. They're not going to be necessarily always physically competitive. But if I see that my friend, my coworker, somebody I know in the community is at 500 and I'm at 250, I can be pretty competitive about wanting to get up there. So that is how you kind of feed that competitiveness, but also, of course, incentivize and chase long-term visit counts. And then the last thing on an ongoing basis is once a month, I want some type of either event or challenge. Some type of event or challenge. Now, this is where you got to be creative. You have to think, okay, you know, what's going to work for you? What are your clients like? Is it a physical challenge? Is it a attendance challenge? Is it a water tracking challenge? Is it a whatever, right? Or is it an event? Like, do you do a, we've done it where we've done like trivia nights. We've done, like kind of like what is that? Like the paint nights, right? Where you get somebody to come in and they do, they all paint the picture, whatever, like whatever your client vibe is. Every month there should be one or the other. People are either doing a community-based challenge where everybody's focusing on this challenge, or there's an event. There should never, we only have 12 months. Like when you think about it like that, it's like you got to come up with 12 things. Every month there should be one of those. It's something to break up the monotonous. I know it's not monotonous to you sometimes, maybe it is, but like showing up to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, it gets routine. And I want to keep that routine, but I also want a little bit of spice, right? I also want a little bit of spice. And so every month I got to throw in that spice. Tony Robbins talked about there's 6 human needs. And the 2 that I think are most important in this industry are certainty and variety. Certainty, variety. They're yin and yang. I need certainty, meaning I know what to expect every time I walk in. I'm not worried about it. I know my coach is going to be taking care of me. There's certainty, right? And then variety. If it's always certain and nothing ever changes, I'm going to get bored. I'm going to get stale. So we have variety in programming. We have variety in events and challenges, things like that. Okay. So last section, what do you do when somebody reaches out to cancel or suspend? In my opinion, And in my experience, you will get about a third of people to save from this. So 2/3, no matter what you do, once they reach out, they've already made up their mind. They're going to cancel. The challenge is you don't know who that third that you can save is. So you got to do the process for everybody. So here's what I recommend you do. They're always going to tell you electronically. Very rarely does somebody tell you in person, right? Because remember, if they're canceling or leaving, they're usually not in the gym, which is why all the other stuff matters more. We got to make sure they're in the gym, they're using it, we're tracking if they're not using it, we're reaching out if they're not using it, etc. But if they reach out, I'm going to send them a Google form. And the Google form is not to change your membership, not to cancel. It's to set up a meeting. Most likely a phone call for convenience purposes, but I am going to talk to you before you cancel. That to me is a non-negotiable. I would never, and I mean never, cancel somebody's membership before I talk to them. They're a member. The membership, relationship. This is not transaction, right? I did not just buy this product and want to return it. This is a relationship that we've had and we're about to end it potentially. So I want to talk about it. So I'm not going to make you jump through 100 hoops, but what I am going to do is I'm going to send you a form. I'm going to say, fill this out. And when I get it, we'll set up a quick call to make any changes to your membership. And the form is going to be, why are you leaving? I want to get you to write it out first. This is a new process that we changed, and it's been huge because what we would do before is we would set up the phone call right away. And people will kind of be afraid to tell us the real reason why. But if I can have you fill out the form first, and then I get notification when that form comes through, and then we set up a phone call, and this usually happens within the same day, right? Like maybe they fill out the form tonight and you set up a phone call for tomorrow or whatever. In that form, because it's this, they're going to be a lot more honest. They're going to be a little bit more direct. And now you have some ammo to combat why they're leaving. Maybe they're writing something like, I'm not coming in 3 times a week. I can't make it in 3 times a week with my busy schedule. And I feel like I'm not, using it for what I'm paying for. Or, I'm going to see a doctor or I'm going to see a physical therapist for my shoulder that you didn't even know about. Right? Well, now you can have the phone call and you can try. Most people that cancel don't know that there are other options. You know that there are other options. We have options of frequency change with our membership for a lower price. We have options of modifying the program. We have options of pausing. We have options of you just lost your job. We've done it where you just literally found out you lost your job. I'm going to scholarship the month of May for you. I'll pay for the month of May for you. You're on scholarship for the month of May. Let's revisit this at the end of May. Now, we're not doing that for every person, but if you legit have a hardship and you're a great ideal client, I'm a huge fan of the scholarship. The key with the scholarship is to word it like that. It's not a free month. I'm going to scholarship this month for you. And we need to revisit. I'm not changing your auto pay. You're still on auto pay. You're still a member. I'm just crediting this month with a scholarship, i.e. $0. But if your auto pay is on the 18th, May 18th, I'll put a 0 for, but June 18th, that's still your normal fee. And it's up to you as an adult to come see me if the scholarship needs to be changed, if you need to modify something else, if you do need to stop, and we can address it at that time. But for those real kind of like, that sucks. I really want to still work with you. Now, if you don't want to work with a person, if they're not an ideal client, sorry to hear that. Here's the cancel form. But for those awesome clients that get those hard moments, I'm totally cool with scholarshiping a month. We've even done it up to 3 months. If all of a sudden you're scholarshiping more than that, that's a sign that they're probably just can't afford it long-term and you need to move on. Because if you start having a bunch of those, you're going to be in a cash flow situation. So use it. I use the term scholarship because not everybody gets a scholarship, right? I'm pretty sure in my town at the high school, there were other than the random little one-off things. I mean, there's 10 kids that get big scholarships, right? It should be a special thing. And if everybody can get it, it's not special. So use it in special situations. But either way, the key here is to install the form, send them the form, they fill out the form, you hop on a call, and you diagnose what the real reason is. You've got their form, so you've got some context ahead of time. You can prep ahead of time, but they may not know, oh, I can drop down to a once a week membership right now while things are crazy. Yeah, sure. I'd rather have you pay 99 bucks instead of $299 than zero. I'd rather modify your program. I'd rather drop your frequency. I'd rather pause you for a month. I'd rather scholarship for your month all day than cancel. Because I know the chance of you coming back on a cancel is slim to none. Even I would say on a pause, like a pause, you all know if you pause somebody, you sometimes get, hey, you're paused. And then you get the email 3 months later, hey, I changed my mind. I'm not coming back. If you are going to do a pause, the pause needs to have a defined pause. So suspension, freeze, pause, I'm using those terms interchangeably, but it's not an open-ended pause. And we would always just use the excuse, our software needs a date. We need a date. So the pause could be a defined period of time that you plug into, like, your wellness living, your push pressure, whatever, where the membership is paused, payments are paused. The key is that it's a defined date and you negotiate at that point. But they know, like, if I'm pausing, it's going to auto start on whatever day I put as a reinstatement date. All right. So hopefully the last, we're going on hour and 6 minutes. Were valuable. Again, if you need the notes from today's training, the link is in the chat. It is wealthygymowners.com/never. And hopefully these things will be installed. If this is brand new to you and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot, start at the top. Start at the top and just work your way through this slowly. Start to put some social proof up on your website. Start to implement phone calls and videos. Start to implement maybe the welcome packet and just move through the list 1 or 2 a month. And by the end of the year, you'll have this stuff built out. But this is the stuff that is needed to get your retention under control, especially now where people have more choices. Economy is a little rocky. All that stuff, in my opinion, is just a better reason to tighten some of this stuff up. So again, take a peek at it. If you have questions, certainly shoot me a message. If it's an easy question, I'm happy to answer it. I will not hop on a call with you if you're not a client. Sorry. My call schedule is full for our clients who are paying for our coaching. I do not do calls for non-clients, but I will answer little one-off messages. Not trying to be rude about it, but just also we all should protect our time. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, wealthygymowners.com/never, and check out wealthygymowners.com for our coaching programs. And there's a bunch of free resources on there, book, podcast, all that fun stuff. So hopefully it was helpful, and I'll be back with another training soon.